D Group Army Reconnaissance Battalion Small Meeting Room. The Army Direct Reconnaissance Battalion Political Commissar Wang Xingming retakes a palm on the table. The white porcelain cup jumped up and tea dripped all over the floor. Qin Fei. Do you know the consequences of doing this? Wang Xingming's roar echoed in the small meeting room. Report to the political commissar. I know. You haven't realized the seriousness of this problem. Don't think that you are a person and I dare not do anything to you. Tell you. I can punish you right away. Even let you run away and force you to retire. Report to the political commissar. I know the problem is serious. I also know the consequences. But I don't regret it. Let me choose again, and I will do it again. The voice of the superior Qin Fei was louder than that of Wang Xingming. Standing in front of his political commissar, he was stubborn like a piece of granite. Wang Xingming flushed with anger, shaking slightly. Get off now. Get out. After holding back for a few seconds, Wang Xingming gritted his teeth, pointed at the door and shouted. Report to the political commissar. I am a human. I have hands and feet. I can't roll. I can only walk. Qin Fei, who stood across from the table, didn't move half of his foot, and his attitude was not like a soldier who made a serious mistake. Wang Xingming felt that the blood in his whole body was pouring up to his head, and he might not be able to control his emotions in the next second. Leading soldiers for 18 years, this was the first soldier he encountered who dared to face a higher-ranking officer. The absolute authority of the political commissar of the reconnaissance battalion has been thoroughly challenged without a bottom line. If you don't deal with the soldier in front of you, the team behind you won't be able to take it. The meeting room was as silent as death, except for the heavy breathing of two people. The wind outside the window suddenly disappeared. It was terribly quiet in the summer afternoon. When I knew it, I stopped humming, except for occasional shouts from the training ground in the distance. For a long time, Wang Xingming's reason finally barely suppressed the emotion that reached the boiling point. I use my own political future guarantee. He stretched out his hand suddenly, and his fingers with a strong smell of smoke almost poked Qin Fei's nose. With me, Wang Xingming, as a political commissar in the reconnaissance camp for one day, you will never have a chance to step into this gate again. Is silent again. Forever. After a pause for a second or two, Wang Xingming almost jumped up and roared again. High-ranking soldier Qin Fei was shocked and slowly opened his eyes. His vision was pitch black. The Type 95 automatic rifle was placed horizontally on his thigh, and when he raised his head, the camouflage tarp could be seen vaguely, and the carriage of the military truck was shaking rhythmically. He sighed secretly. It turned out to be a dream. It has been more than half a month since was driven out of the reconnaissance battalion and decentralized the company. The life of the scout has become a distant past. Now he is a sinner and is still waiting for the result of the group army. Maybe it's really like what the political commissar Wang Xingming said, I can't go back again. If you really can't go back. He sighed secretly again, unwilling to think further. I really regret having a heated conflict with political commissar Wang Xingming, that is, being tough and stubborn may lead to an end to the military career. As for the cause of the incident, Qin Fei never regretted it. Just like what I said in the small meeting room of the reconnaissance camp, even if time goes back and forth, I will still make the same choice. There is no hesitation. He moved his body slightly, and suddenly heard a low voice of conversation from the corner of the carriage. Squad leader, that guy was released from the reconnaissance battalion directly under our army. Someone asked in a low voice with a Henan accent. Well, it's true. In the darkness, Sergeant Yin Xiankong took a peek at Qin Fei's side and gave the inquiring soldier a thumbs up. That's a fierce man. Hey! The Henan accented soldier chuckled, obviously not believing the squad leader's words. The fierce men from the Group Army Reconnaissance Battalion will come to our 3rd Artillery Company? Squad leader, don't treat me as a new recruit, just brag about people. Flutter. Before the words fell, Yin Xiankong made a sudden move and tapped the Henan soldier's helmet like lightning. Who has the indulgence to talk to you? I said yes, I have seen him. At the end of last year, the whole army was trained to compete for top talents, and I was assigned to provide protection. Have you forgotten about this? Hey? It seems that there really is something like that. Henan Bing seemed to believe a little bit. Yin Xiankong looked at Qin Fei's position again, as if he wanted to make sure that the other party was still sleeping, and then gave a thumbs up again. He is the scout contest of the whole army, and many of the results have broken the record of the group army. Scared? First place. Another Jiangzi soldier nicknamed Little Fatty was taken aback, stuck out his tongue and said, I think he has the rank of superior soldier. This is only his second year in the army, right? There are many masters in the reconnaissance battalion. There are a lot of veterans and non-commissioned officers in the place, not to mention that the scouts in the division and brigade below are not vegetarian, so he can get the first place. I saw it with my own eyes, can I still fake it? Yin Xiankong gave Xiaoku a white look. Why did you fall into our company? Xiao Pang puzzled. Yin Xiankong said, maybe. Maybe it's for the lower company to exercise. The Henan soldier who spoke first cracked his mouth. He didn't believe Yin Xiankong's words. This was obviously to protect Qin Fei's self-esteem. Hey, squad leader, don't be nonsense. I see if he made any mistakes and was kicked to us. Yin Xiankong was about to speak, the rapid air defense sirens ripped through the night sky and disrupted the tranquility. Wu air raid! Air raid! Pay attention to concealment. An air raid warning came from the loudspeaker of the leading car in front. All regiment-level anti-aircraft firearms in the convoy quickly entered the combat reload. The launch frame of the missile vehicle spewed out a long tail flame, and under the guidance of the fire control radar, it whizzed into the sky. Large-caliber anti-aircraft machine guns ejected flames at the same time, and the dense crossfire net reflected the entire sky. Get off! Get off! The soldiers in the car jumped out of the car hurriedly, and all left the road looking for shelter. Blast 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 just hit in the ditch on the side of the road, the explosives embedded in the director team detonated one after another, fireballs soared from all directions, the air wave swept the soil into the air, bounced down, and hit the car on the side of the road. Qin Fei was lying in a half-meter deep soil ditch, the dirt fell on his back, and some got into his neck. He raised his head cautiously, and saw a military off-road vehicle with the hood stripped off not far away, rolling in yellow dust. It stopped more than 100 meters away. Several officers with red armbands were holding it. The night vision telescope looks here. Is really the director of the director team. Qin Fei cursed secretly in his heart. From the day before yesterday into the exercise, the air raids of the Blue Army and the simulations of various director groups have emerged one after another. All air raids have reached 3 times. The directors seem to be changing their way to participate in the Red Army, making everyone uneasy for a moment. The air raid lasted more than 10 minutes, and the surrounding area finally calmed down. Yin Xiankong shook his head and shook his head full of dirt, spit out the sand in his mouth, stood up from the hidden place and cursed, the director's grandsons are so perverted. It's just like the real thing. Big Mouth's temper is not so good, and he yells, the gang is a veritable neuropathy. From yesterday to now, how many times have this been? Where did we go where the Blue Army bombed, like in the toilet? Like a fly, I can't drive it away. I'm tired. Xiao Pang sat on the ground and yawned, it's been 2 days, I haven't had a good night's sleep. It was either an air attack or a chemical weapon attack, or a running attack. It is maneuvering. We have been beaten several times without seeing the shadow of the Blue Army. Is there such a fight in a war? I wrote to a fellow in other troops and told me that their brigade had been here. It is said that since the establishment of this comprehensive confrontation base, there has been no case of victory by the Red Army. This is specifically used to torture the Red Army. It will be given to you as soon as it enters the battlefield. Exploding waste, or directly paralyzing your communications, the Air Force is over. Reading www.yunsha.com, but the Blue Army is born by the director team, all kinds of cool, all kinds of open and hanging. When everyone complained about strange things, the jeep of the director group parked in the distance restarted with a bang, and galloped toward the 2nd Regiment. I don't know how many layoffs have to be announced in this bombing, Qin Fei thought. From last night to now, the armored 2nd Regiment that I belong to has lost 30% of its troops in all kinds of inconsistent toss. Lost Onet heard of the soldiers before entering the crossfire zone. Damn, the Blues really belong to the director team. A convertible off-road vehicle with a small red flag passed Qin Fei's body, 4 officers in 03 camouflage uniforms in the vehicle, with red armbands on their right arms, and 3 large white characters guidance group printed on them. Look! The neurosis of the guidance team is coming. The big soldiers of the Red Army hula la, all surrounded, standing by the side of the car and staring at the steering group car, almost bursting into flames in their eyes. The off-road vehicle stopped, and several officers jumped out of the vehicle. One of them was holding a notebook and was remembering something, and the other was holding a handheld data terminal and seemed to be calculating something. Soon, Qin Fei saw Su Ziwen, head of the 2 regiment, running towards this side. Both sides saluted. The major led by the guidance team said with a blank poker face, like a debt collector, the 22nd Armored 2nd Regiment was hit by a large-scale air attack by the Blue Army. The personnel were reduced by 30%. The ammunition vehicle was hit directly and 30% of the ammunition was destroyed. Weapons and equipment are damaged by 27%. Speaking of stopping here, he glanced at the location of Super Qin Fei Station and continued with expressionless expression, the regiment's artillery battalion has reduced its personnel by 75%, and the air defense firepower has lost 95%. What? Lieutenant Colonel Su Ziwen almost jumped up and blurted out, "Take the fuck." Su Ziwen could not accept this result. I said, "Comrade Staff, is there something wrong with you? Our air defense firepower has already discovered the Blue Army enemy aircraft and intercepted the fire." The soldiers jumped in time to disperse the formation and hide in place. How could the loss be so miserable? That's right. This time, 30 American-made B-2 stealth bombers used laser precision-guided bombs to attack you. Although your regiment's radar can detect the opponent's B-2 bomber, the interception time is too late and others have already flown there. You only found out that your regiment's air defense firepower has no technical advantage against the B-2 stealth bomber. Therefore, this result is very fair. The major staff officer's face was covered with a sly smile. It's an international joke. Head Su almost jumped up again, blowing his hair like a cat whose tail was stepped on. 30 B-2s bombed one of our armored regiments? The U.S. Army has only 21 B-2s in total. The 9 more B-2s were sent by their god. This is simply impossible. Concentrated bombing by so many stealth fighters a regiment? Hit mosquitoes with a cannon? Are they crazy? Nothing in the past does not mean that there will be no in the future, and there is nothing that may be impossible, but it is impossible that the participating troops have the final say, but our director team has the final say. We say it may be possible, and say that it is impossible. The major staff did not intend to explain at all, they existed like gods on this training ground. Commander Su, I have been merciful. According to the bombing intensity of 30 B-2s, how many tanks do you think your regiment can have left? How many soldiers? Now please abide by the rules of the confrontation exercise and immediately follow the instructions given by us. The battle damage caused your troops to withdraw from the exercise. After that, the major staff member jumped on the off-road vehicle, waved his hand, and left. Battle! Bastard! Su Ziwen was so angry that he took off his helmet and threw him to the ground. Soldiers were reduced by 30%, equipment battle losses were 27%, regiment artillery battalions lost 75%, which meant that the entire formed artillery battalion had only one company left. The worst thing is the anti-aircraft firepower, which is close to annihilation, with a 95% loss. He felt a cold breath on his spine. The director team is a hard-working Red Army. No wonder they say that this synthetic drill base is a Red Army cemetery. It's really not an exaggeration. Head. Zheng Shenqi, the head of the regiment, trod all the way to the front, saluting. Su Ziwen said in an unpleasant manner, "The leader is a fart. I'm almost bombed into a battalion commander. We have contacted the previous group." Zheng Sheng said. "We have contacted the 1st Regiment? What's their situation now?" The head of Su's regiment was immediately pleased. Due to electronic interference from the Blue Army before, communications could not be reached for a while, and all friendly forces were caught blindly. Zheng Sheng's face was slightly ugly, and he shook his head and said, "The situation in Regiment 1 is not good. 10 minutes ago, they suffered a biochemical blow, and they were directly judged by the director team to reduce their staff by 50%. What? Biochemical blows? Worse than us?" Su Ziwen's eyes almost fell to the ground. The 1st Regiment is the forward force, at the forefront of the entire brigade, responsible for the defense of the 2A area. According to the plan, after waiting for the reserve team of the 2 Regiment to enter the predetermined position, the 1 Regiment will launch an attack. But now, 50% reduction in staff? So what about the defense line of the 2A area? The Blues are not fools. The 1st Regiment that has lost half of its troops is just a piece of meat on the plate. They will take the opportunity to hit the dominant force and tear the opening in the 1st Regiment's position. Once the 2A area misses, the entire defense line of the 22nd Brigade will collapse. As a senior commander, Su Ziwen knew too well what it meant for the entire battle of the 22nd Brigade to be torn off the line of defense. All losers in one game are lost. The brigade command requires us to speed up and immediately reinforce the 1st Regiment. Zheng Sheng said. It seems that the Blue Army will launch an armored swarm charge at any time. Regiment Commander Su looked at the military watch on his wrist and said, "Time is not waiting. You should immediately notify the 3rd Artillery Company to stop their advance and find suitable ones nearby. The artillery positions will be concealed and wait for my order to cover the 2C area where the Blue Army may attack, to ensure that the 1st Regiment can support the arrival of the reinforcements of the brothers. Only notify the 3 Artillery Company." Zheng Sheng was taken aback, and couldn't help asking, "Don't we have a battalion howitzer company? That was the strength of the troops 15 minutes ago. Our artillery battalion was directly damaged by 75% in the air attack. Now there are only 3 batteries left." Commander Su rushed forward, without turning his head, his mouth was cursing. That director group. The sound of a rumbling motor came from the back of the convoy. Qin Fei stood by the side of the road, watching 96A tanks galloping past him, and quickly disappeared at the end of the dirt road. All the tanks have moved. Xiao Pang leaned against the truck, watching the iron torrent unstoppably speeding forward with envy, and the harazi almost flowed out. After watching for a while, he suddenly scolded angrily, "The tank soldier is cool. Sitting on the iron tortoise, he will be a cannon when he sees who is upset. It looks like we are sitting on this bird and breaking the car, useless." After speaking, the breath was still there, and he turned around and kicked on the truck tires with a bang. "Mom, you are noisy, believe it or not, I will let you sit on the barrel." Yin Xian Kong stared. Chubby sticks his tongue out and hides aside. It seems something must have happened ahead. Qin Fei threw the 95 style behind his shoulders, jumped onto the truck, sat down beside the baffle and said, "The first group in front seems to be finished." "How do you know?" Yin Xian Kong asked, standing under the car. "You didn't see your Commander Su rushing towards the 2A area with all the tanks and armored vehicles like your ass? If the 1st Regiment can withstand it, will he be so anxious? Qin Fei looked around and said, "We are afraid that the artillery company will stay here to build an artillery position to provide fire support to the 1st Regiment. This is a good thing." Yin Xiankong spit on the ground, eager to try. "Fucking you want to beat up the blue team, we have been holding back for several days, the shadow of the blue team was not found, just got bombed along the way. The biochemical attack is really useless. It's not certain who beats who, but I think that 80% of your 22nd Brigade will suffer a big loss." Qin Fei looked at the smug Yin Xiankong coldly, and poured cold water on him without mercy. Yin Xiankong's face suddenly sank. "Qin Fei, I don't care if you were a soldier in the Direct Military Reconnaissance Battalion. Now that we are here, we are a member of our company and a member of our squad. What does your company sound like? Why are you so awkward?" Yin Xiankong has always been amiable, but this time he was obviously irritated. Qin Fei wanted to refute, but finally gave up this plan. He was indeed driven out of the gate by the Jizhi Reconnaissance Battalion and sent to the artillery company. Whether he was the first in the group army scout contest or not, it is no longer important. Now he is indeed a soldier of the 3rd Artillery Company, just an artillery soldier who can detect and professionally. Political Commissar Wang Xingming was right, he would never go back to the reconnaissance camp. What the army emphasizes is absolute obedience. This is especially true for the reconnaissance battalion that undertakes the task of sharp knives. A scout military that dares to confront even the superiors is so powerful that no one dares to ask for it. Thinking of this, Qin Fei's heart suddenly cooled. He sighed and explained, "Squad Leader Yin, what I said just now is not unfounded. The 2nd Regiment we are in is the reserve team, and the forefront of the entire theatre is the 1st and 3rd Regiments. As the reserve team, we rushed up. Great, I don't think I need to explain more about the current situation of the troops in front." This time it was Yin Xiankong's turn that he could not refute Qin Fei's words. "Don't be afraid. Our brigade is not vegetarian. Yin Xiankong is still stubborn, it's a big deal with those Blue Army troops. Our brigade is a veteran Red Army brigade, I don't believe in the Blue Army that can't beat those bad days." Yuyuganshu.com. Yes. Fuck the blues of the dog days. Fuck them. Fuck. I don't believe that the blues are really aliens, with 3 heads and 6 arms. The big-head soldiers were high-spirited and excited as if they were beaten up with blood. "Forget it," I said the squad leader, "don't give up that idleness, it seems that no matter how much you fight, it has nothing to do with us." Qin Fei looked at these overexcited guys, as if seeing a group of aliens who had just landed on Earth. He reached out and knocked on a large aluminum pot leaning on the cardboard, and said with a smile, "You should wake up. Squad leader. We are in the cooking class." Qin Fei suddenly brought all the people who beat them back to reality from the blood boil. Everyone took a look at the team in their company. The 155 howitzer was dragged behind other people's truck, and this car. This car is towing a 97 Style field cooking car. Qin Fei shook his head, waved his hand, leaned on the carriage and closed his eyes. "Well, let's think about how to cook later." The overexcited gangs were drenched in cold water. After looking at each other for a while, they all stunned like frosted eggplants. They slowly climbed into the car and returned to their positions. "Fuck me." After a long time, I don't know who cursed in the dark. Then someone said angrily, "Worry. Before I became a soldier, the veteran in the village told me that I must not be a cook for the artillery. I didn't expect to be a cook for the artillery. It really fell apart. 8 lifetimes of blood mold. What do you mean by that?" Someone couldn't help but ask. "Cooking soldiers among the artillery, carry the scapegoat. Cuckold. Watch other people play artillery." The 3rd Company commander, Zheng Sheng, the regimental staff officer, appeared beside the convoy of the 3rd Artillery Company. "Oh! It's old Zheng." Zhang Jianxing jumped out of the car and greeted enthusiastically. He and Zheng Sheng graduated from the teaching brigade at the same time, but then Zheng Sheng went to the military academy a year earlier than him. Old Zheng, why did all the tank units go up? What happened before? Why didn't we receive the order to move forward? Don't worry, I will give you a combat mission right now. Zheng Sheng took off his helmet and wiped his sweat. The 1st Regiment was attacked by chemical weapons and directly reduced its staff by 50%. The head of the regiment predicted that the Blue Army would be in a short time. Launched an armored cluster charge, so we took our regiment to speed up and rushed to support, ordering your troops to immediately deploy and build artillery positions on the spot, and the battle is expected to start at any time. 50%. Zhang Jianxing was also taken aback when he heard Zheng Sheng's words, damn it. These days, even the Blues have been bombed without seeing the shadow of the Blues. How do I feel that we are dealing with aliens? People fighting. I don't think it's just a war with aliens. Just the airstrike, our air defense artillery fired all over the sky, and the Blue airstrike fleet was undamaged. Isn't this nonsense? I think it's the director team. To help the perverted behavior, I will probably throw a nuclear bomb directly on our heads later. Zheng Sheng said dejectedly. Forget it, who doesn't know the conduct of those dog days? The 112th Brigade came here to participate in the exercise last year. No one was beaten up and bruised without seeing it. The troops in the hands of one of the regiment leaders were left without officially entering the battlefield. I couldn't get to a battalion, so I shed tears. Zhang Jianxing didn't want to mention these things again, waved his hand irritably and asked, where are my shooting coordinates? There is no accurate shooting coordinates. According to the prediction, the Blue Army's offensive direction is in 2C. The 1st Regiment established a defense line in Area 2A, but the current situation of the 1st Regiment is very bad. It is the weakest link in the defense. The dog day will either not come. If you want to come, you will definitely come from there. You receive the instructions to immediately cover the 2C area with shelling. Zheng Sheng jumped into the warrior's car while talking. The door slammed shut. When the car didn't drive, Zheng Sheng stretched out his head from the car window and exhorted loudly, Lao Zhang, you remember, the 1st Regiment is in 2A. They will try their best to bring the Blues into 2C. Throw it on the head of the first group of brothers, knocking out their little belongings. Dog day. Don't you worry about my commanding skills. Zhang Jianxing smiled, then suddenly put his smile away and asked, but the radio station is very unstable now, if the communication is disturbed, how can I receive orders? If the line is unblocked, use the radio to contact us. It's really not possible. Let's use the old method. Please pay attention to the sky over there. We will send people to high places to send out 2 red flares, which is the firing command. Without technology, we still have the old tradition. I don't believe in that evil. If you don't have Zhang Butcher, you would have to eat pigs with fur. But Zhang Jianxing was a little embarrassed. If there is no real-time correction of the cannon finger, how can I correct the impact point by the thing? You have to play a little too far. You have been crazy long ago. If you are crazy, you will be crazy. To win the metamorphosis, first of all you must be metamorphosis. What is the current equipment configuration of the Blue Army? Qing Yishui surpasses the American tanks. In addition to the number of the Soviet Army's large-scale system, the 59 modified tanks they used are better than the American M1A1 Abrams tank in the simulation system. To deal with this kind of abnormality, we can't follow the rules, using the firing command to directly overwrite 2C, that's right. Okay, then I will do what you said. Damn. I think of the abnormal parameters of the blue armored units have a toothache. Zheng Sheng beat the bridge hard, and said, anyway, you give me a hard hit. Give me all the fast volleys. The ammunition was made for me, and I don't believe that your 155 howitzer can blast those perverted blue iron turtles. After cursing, I remembered something. and solemnly reminded, Lao Zhang, now the other 2 companies of the artillery battalion are finished. Only you are left. The fire support depends on you. The troops behind may not be able to catch up for a while, you yourself. Be careful. Zhang Jianxing nodded and saluted. Go. Zhang Sheng replied, raised his head at the driver, and knocked twice on the door of the car with his hand. The warriors roared and rolled up the dust and disappeared into the darkness. The sky is still dim, and the prairie is still asleep, not fully awake. The convoy dragging the 155 howitzer slowly drove off the dirt road and stopped on the recessed ground in the 2 nearby soil slopes. Qin Fei jumped out of the car and looked around. This location is well concealed, and the terrain between the slopes is flat, making it a good gun position. The morale of the cooking class is low. Obviously, everyone was completely wiped out by the words of cuckolding, holding a black pot, watching other people's shots just now, and they were all listless like a chicken. Get off! Get off! Yin Xiankong was the first to jump out of the car and greeted the people in the cooking class, all are down, ready to make breakfast. No one moved. All the cheer me up. Seeing that the people in the car looked like bears, Yin Xiankong suddenly became angry, slammed the car, and shouted, Do you know what shame is? The most shameful soldier in the world is not cooking in the artillery. Soldiers, but they wear military uniforms but have no fighting spirit, like you, wearing military emblems, but making trouble with a 3-year-old child. The soldiers in the cooking class were stunned, and Qin Fei was stunned. During the period when I was transferred to the cooking class, I was depressed and thought that maybe I would really be forced out of the army, so I pressed the bedboard every day. I didn't expect that my consciousness was not as high as the cooking squad leader who was not in his eyes. A hot feeling climbed onto his face. Qin Fei felt that Yin Xiankong's words were just talking about himself. Seeing that everyone did not say anything, Yin Xiankong said, We will be a soldier for the rest of our life. In the future, others will ask us, What do you do in the army? How do we answer? Could it be that you got out after you have been in the army for 2 years? What's the point of that? I'm so embarrassed to say that I was once a soldier. This curse is regarded as a curse. Awakened everyone moved. After 4 o'clock in the morning, the empty grassland was silent everywhere. Qin Fei stood by the car and looked at it for a while and said, Squad leader, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com, I think something is wrong, don't use the cooking car. Bullshit. Yin Xiankong said, How can I cook without a cooking wagon? Qin Fei stretched out his finger and pointed to a big hole 100 meters away on the right and said, Go there to cook. Yin Xiankong turned his head and looked over there. There was a big crater 100 meters away, with a diameter of more than 10 meters. Maybe it was the missile that was exploded during the last exercise. It looked quite deep. Go to the pit to cook. Yin Xiankong was puzzled, thinking that he didn't need a good cooking cart, and ran to the pit to cook. Something wrong? The cooking cart can't drive into the pit. Besides, on the side of the gun position and the company command, we run so far to cook, it's inconvenient to bring it here, toss it. The car stays here, and people go into the pit to dig light-proof stoves and smoke-dissipating stoves, using earthen methods to do it. Qin Fei didn't intend to explain, but said straightforwardly, although it is a bit troublesome, I was right. Yin Xiankong frowned, wondering if Qin Fei had nothing to do with him. If you look at Qin Fei, you don't think this soldier is joking at all. Why? Premonition. Qin Fei answered cleanly, premonition of a scout. Premonition. Yin Xiankong was stunned. Now he must make a decision. Heed the premonition of a superior soldier who had been sent to the company for less than half a month, and insisted on his usual practice. But he has an indescribable trust in Qin Fei, a trust that he can't even explain himself. After hesitating for a while, Yin Xiankong gritted his teeth and made a choice, all the cooking class members will listen to me. Move the cooking guy to the pit over there, Xiao Peng, take the engineer's spade, prepare to dig out the smoke stove and avoid light. Stove, let's not cook in the car today. The artillery position was quickly completed, and Zhang Jianxing followed the army's usual pre-war mobilization. Standing on a of more than 3 meters high, with a black head in front of him, this is the home of Sanbao Company. Comrades! I am afraid that time is very short. The front will be launched at any time. The troops in front need the support of our artillery company. This Red and Blue Army confrontation exercise is a good opportunity for us to show off our skills. We usually sweat and shed blood. The bitterness, the cocoons on the hands and the tanned skin are all for this moment. To win the battle. I ask you, why do you want to win the battle? His eagle-like sharp eyes swept across the quiet team, every dark face. No soldiers answered, the team was quiet. For the honor. For the honor of the soldiers. He said loudly. Everyone continued to be silent. Zhang Jianxing's fist was waving vigorously in the air, as if to smash the air. The Blue Army's equipment and technology are much stronger than ours. So far, no Red Army has been able to defeat them in all confrontation exercises at this synthetic base. But what I want to say is, the past does not mean that we are now. Who are we? The 22nd Brigade is a hero, and we are the glorious 3rd Company of the Artillery Battalion. Our predecessors have climbed the snow-capped mountains, walked through the grass, and participated in 2 of the 3 major battles. They faced a greater disparity in power back then than they do today. But they did not flinch. Today, let the Blues in front of us know how powerful our 22nd Brigade is. Know how powerful our artillery battalion 3 companies are. Are you okay? Good. Louder please. Good. Sound waves swept past, and the voice was quite angry. What is the slogan of our 3 artillery company? Zhang Jianxing asked in a hoarse voice. 3 guns are a piece of steel. I would rather break it than bend it. 3 guns are a piece of steel. It won't be bent if you twist it. 3 guns are a piece of steel. It won't be bent if you twist it. The majestic slogan echoes on the grassland. Zhang Jianxing came down from the with satisfaction, and saw the deputy company commander Huang Zonghua walking towards this side. He smiled bitterly and shook his head as he walked. Where did you go just now? Why did you laugh? Zhang Jianxing asked. Huang Zonghua said, I just went to see the situation at the cooking class. It's also time to prepare breakfast. The deputy company commander is also in charge of logistics, and Huang Zonghua is the responsibility. Zhang Jianxing turned his head to see that the 97STYLE cooking car was still parked beside the car queue, but the cooking class was nowhere to be seen. Where are people? He was a little strange. It's over there. Huang Zonghua turned around and pointed to the distance. Zhang Jianxing looked in the direction pointed by Huang Zonghua, but saw nothing. Where? In the big bomb crater. Huang Zonghua smiled. About 100 meters away, there is a relatively hidden big pit. It was blown out during previous exercises. The soldiers from the cooking squad ran into the pit to dig out the smoke stove and cook. NS. I don't need a good cooking car, go digging out the smoke stove. Zhang Jianxing's face sank, and he said with no anger, what the are you doing? It was decided temporarily by Yin Xiankong, the leader of the cooking squad, and it is said that it was Qin Fei's proposal. Huang Zonghua said. The soldier from the military reconnaissance battalion. Zhang Jianxing asked, what does he want to do? During the half-month since Qin Fei came to the company, he has been pressing on the bed every day and has not participated in training. Although Zhang Jianxing was unhappy in his heart, he could still understand it. The Army Direct Reconnaissance Battalion is a pretty awesome unit. The scouts have always been proud of themselves. No one will lose their emotions when they are sent to the grassroots artillery company, not to mention the cooking squad. He gave me an offer just now. Huang Zonghua took out his cigarette and lit the fire, and said, "Let's send someone to establish a cordon near the artillery position." Warning line. Zhang Jianxing heard a little unhappy, "He actually commanded us." Huang Zonghua smiled and said, "He said he had a hunch." "What premonition?" Huang Zonghua said, "The premonition of the scout." "Call him here." Zhang Jianxing was a little angry. When is it the turn of a superior soldier to command several artillery company officers? When Qin Fei was sent to the 3rd Artillery Company, Zhang Jianxing was very happy. After all, he was a soldier in the reconnaissance battalion. I heard that he also took the first place in the Group Army Scout contest. At the beginning of the year, he even participated in the Army's training camp as a military commander shooting leader. This is definitely one of the best people at the top of 100. It is a strong military backbone wherever you put it. For the chief military officer, this is a baby bump. If Qin Fei is placed in the combat squad as the squad leader of the benchmark artillery squad, the entire company can scream. Unexpectedly, the military staff officer who sent Qin Fei down opened his mouth and poured cold water on Zhang Jianxing, saying that this soldier can only be put in the cooking class and not allowed to participate in training. It must be carefully guarded. This is the party committee directly under the Group Army. Decision. What does the Military Straight Party Committee mean? Isn't this nonsense? It's a waste of talent. Qin Fei, who was only waiting for the rank of soldier, did not make any mistakes in the end. Although Zhang Jianxing couldn't guess the reason, he knew that Qin Fei's troubles were certainly not small. Otherwise, how could an outstanding special force with the first place in a Group Army Scout contest fall into this field? Is it really a thorny soldier? Is it okay to find something? Zhang Jianxing was suspicious. Half a minute later, Qin Fei ran up to Zhang Jianxing and saluted him. "Report to the company commander. Qin Fei, a superior soldier, is here to report." "Qin Fei, listen to your hunch." Zhang Jianxing frowned and said, "It's just my own intuition." Qin Fei said, "The scout's intuition." "Intuition?" Zhang Jianxing almost scolded his mother, and said in a heavy tone, "This is a serious exercise. Don't make international jokes, don't you kid, don't think I dare not take you away. I have a basis for saying that." Qin Fei didn't change his face. "Say, what basis?" The Special Operations Brigade that the Blue Army participated in the confrontation this time was transferred from the C Military Region. The members are all veterans of the Military Region Special Brigade. I had contact with them when I participated in the Army's top shooting camp at the beginning of the year. Learn. Is this your basis? Zhang Jianxing frowned even more. When I was bored, I studied the confrontation exercises of the Red and Blue forces in the past year. Last year, the Red Army's 131 Brigade was killed in this way. It was infiltrated by the Blue Special Forces detachment to the rear and removed all the artillery positions and missile positions. The front troops were engaged in key battles. There was no fire support at all, resulting in the annihilation of the two armored regiments that were defending frontally. We only need 30 minutes to complete the full firepower coverage, which is enough to stop the Blue Army's armored group charge in the 2C area. After 30 minutes, we will change the gun positions. Zhang Jianxing is confident in his commanding ability. You are sure Blue can the Special Forces unit of the Army find us? Those are not ordinary special forces. They are military area-level special forces. Not to mention looking for artillery positions. Even if they are hiding in the underground command post, they can dig 3 feet to find out. Qin Fei replied very positively. Zhang Jianxing asked, how many people are needed to defend a special forces unit? If the Blue Army's special forces squad attacked, Qin Fei knew very well that even if the entire artillery company was filled in, it would not be able to stop it. Those were all the guys who didn't show up and played cards according to common sense. One by one was slippery than a loach, and with the tactical qualities of artillery, they couldn't fight at all. All companies can't go up. Qin Fei said without reservation, but at least they can delay their actions. As long as their actions are blocked, the firepower of the artillery company can provide more support to the front line and destroy more Blue Army tanks. It is our mission to hinder the Blue Army's offensive and gain time, even if we lose the entire battery. You are very direct. Qin Fei's truth is not good. Although Zhang Jianxing knows that the situation is true, he is still somewhat unhappy. After thinking about it, he asked, "You seem to be very familiar with special operations." Qin Fei said, "Yes, this is my business." Bullshit. Zhang Jianxing snorted in his nostrils, "Don't think I have never seen a pig run without eating pork. Say, where did you learn this?" Qin Fei's expression was a little strange. He hesitated for a moment and said, "I came from a military family. My father had participated in actual combat before and was born in a reconnaissance brigade. When he was a child, he didn't treat me in the same way as ordinary children. It can be said that he treated me. Become his soldier." Oh! It turned out to be the descendant of the scout. Zhang Jianxing suddenly realized. Now he must make a choice as to whether he, the commander of the lieutenant, should listen to the advice of a superior soldier and squeeze at least 1/3 of the company's strength to provide security. Zhang Jianxing looked up at Qin Fei, and Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com suddenly waved his hand to let him leave. "Well, I see, you go back and cook first." After Qin Fei left, Zhang Jianxing asked Huang Zonghua, "About how many people can we squeeze out?" Huang Zonghua was a little surprised, and couldn't help but said, "Company commander, do you really listen to this kid? Why don't you listen?" Zhang Jianxing smiled bitterly, "Just because he is a superior soldier." Huang Zonghua smiled and said, "Do you think this kid is reliable?" Zhang Jianxing looked at Qin Fei's figure intently. "Don't tell me, I really look at this kid. Don't you think that Qin Fei was born as a soldier? Old Huang, don't underestimate him. A soldier can win the group army reconnaissance in the second year after enlisting. The first place in the competition, can it be done without any talent? I have a hunch that he will not stay in our gun battery for too long. Is it that exaggerated?" Huang Zonghua laughed. Zhang Jianxing said, "I have been a soldier for more than 10 years, and I will never miss it." "Well, then let him, and squeeze out people to build the cordon." Huang Zonghua said, "But in order to ensure the frequency of attack, each gun must protect at least 6 people. According to this theory, we are even connected. Can squeeze out more than 40 people. 40 people, not enough for the special operations team to stuff their teeth." Zhang Jianxing sighed. After thinking about it, he said, "Squeeze out all the troops that can be squeezed, make up 45 soldiers, and let the instructor lead the team to make a pocket on the outside. If those blue special forces dare to come, even if they can't fight, tear off a piece of meat from them. The people responsible for the defense light up, starting from the 3rd platoon, platooning to me one by one, the soldiers are all gone and the officers are on. Damn, I don't believe in that evil. Everyone in the special brigade is still in trouble." 2C area. The thick morning mist enveloped the entire battlefield, and there was no one to see around it. Lin Tianyang, head of the 1st Armored Regiment, stood by the command vehicle and stared at the mist that suddenly appeared, his heart hung up. The fog can block the line of sight, which is beneficial to the offense and is an excellent opportunity for a surprise attack. If you were the commander of the opposing Blue Army, you would never miss this great opportunity. He returned to the command vehicle, picked up the microphone and said loudly, "Notify the battalions to increase their vigilance and prepare to fight at any time." The command was sent out via radio waves, but Lin Tianyang's suspended heart did not fall. Armor 1 Regiment is in a bad situation. Before entering the 2C area to establish a defense line, they were attacked by biological and chemical weapons, reducing their staff by more than half, and then slowing down the advancement of the troops through the nuclear contaminated zone, and their combat plans were all disrupted. If the Blue Army on the opposite side takes the opportunity to launch a large-scale offensive, the weakened 1st Regiment will not be able to face up to the 96th Blue Army Brigade, known as the Prairie Wolves. It's more than this that worries him the most. A few years before the 22nd Brigade entered this synthetic training base to participate in the confrontation between the Red and Blue Army, 6A's troops from the elite troops of the major military regions had come here, but they all came here arrogantly and left in disgrace. The current record of the 96th Brigade is 6:0, unbeaten. Known as China's strongest Blue Army simulation force, it has the number of armored clusters of the former Soviet Union during the Cold War, surpassing the powerful firepower and defensive parameters of the Abrams M1A2 tank in active service of the U.S. Army, and it has a large number of stealth fighters to cooperate with it. People jokingly call it the most powerful alien coalition on Earth. The 96th Brigade Armored Unit of the Blue Army became famous in just a few years after its establishment. Just like playing a game, the old Type 59 tank of the Blue Army, commonly known as 5 pairs of wheels, through the magical data virtual technology of the Director Group, suddenly became youthful and transformed into the world's most powerful armored cluster, the Red Army's 96A Type main battle. The ammunition fired by the tank through the simulation system is simply tickling it, and all kinds of ricochet can't penetrate it. In the previous Red-Blue confrontations, many officers and soldiers of the Red Army had red eyes, and some troops were even anxious to roll the bottom of the car with explosives. What a pity, what are you afraid of? The sound of a rumbling motor was heard in the thick fog. The red light of the communication station turned on, and Lin Tianyong rushed forward to pick up the microphone, and the frontline commander's hurried voice came from inside. "Commander, the Blue Army is attacking us from the northeast corner of the 2C area under the cover of thick fog." Lin Tianyong's heart shrank, as if he was severely held by someone, and he quickly asked, "How many people are here?" "The number is huge, at least 150 or more, and there are armed helicopter groups to cover. 150 cars." Lin Tianyong felt that his hand holding the microphone felt moist. "This is at least 2 armored regiments. At present, the weakest link in the entire 22nd Brigade's defense line is the 2C area under the responsibility of the 1st Regiment. The Blue Army has assembled so many armored units here, and their intelligence collection is very accurate. It can be said that they have a good knowledge of the deployment of the Red Army in the area. Don't ask, it must be the Director's team that let the Blues go. It now appears that the Blue Army intends to clench a fist and hit the force at one point, tearing an opening on the defense line of the 1st Regiment, thereby defeating the entire Red Army defensive front. You can fire freely. Hit me hard when you see the target." Lin Tianyong gritted his teeth. Blast blast blast! It didn't take long for Lin Tianyong to put down the microphone. Continuous gunfire sounded from the position, the fire from the muzzle illuminated the entire position, and it was discovered that the enemy's Red Army Type 96A tanks fired one after another. Then, cheers came from the radio. "The first hit! Hit! I also hit!" However, within half a minute of cheering excitedly, the communication channel quickly became a mess. "What's the matter? I hit 2 shots, but the target can still move. What did the Director team do? I hit a 59 modified engine and it was still alive and kicking. The Blues are cheating. I'm his uncle. Damn it. Fuck me." Lin Tianyong stared at the battlefield monitoring screen on the command vehicle, and couldn't help but cursed. According to the normal shooting power calculation, the 59 change is not the opponent of the 96A at all, and there is a huge generation gap between the two tanks. The 125 high-pressure smoothbore gun of the 96A main battle tank can transform the old 59 into parts with one shot, but the parameters of the Blue Army 59 in the 2C area are almost abnormally adjusted by the Director team, which is more advanced than the US Army's most advanced AMRAAM. Sri Lanka M1A1 is even better. On the defense line of the 1st Regiment, tanks were continuously hit and scrapped. The Blue Army's armed helicopter group pounced with their teeth and claws, and they were intercepted by the Red Army's crossfire net. Fortunately, the anti-aircraft firepower of the 1st Regiment did not suffer too much damage in the previous airstrikes. Under the violent fire interception, 2 WAZ fighters were judged to have crashed and withdrew from the exercise. The commander of the Blue Army immediately mobilized tanks to cover the 1st Regiment's air defense position. The regiment's air defense fire began to be damaged, and both sides were doing their best. One regiment must defend 2C, the Blue Army armored cluster must seize the best time to make a breakthrough, and both parties go all out. Lin Tianyong's heart hung up. He knew that he had this family background, and he was not the opponent of the 150 Blue Army tanks in front of him. Once the air defense firepower is severely damaged, the Blue Army gunship formations that have lost air deterrence will pounce like wolves, and the anti-tank missiles suspended under the belly will blast the 96A tanks on the ground into slag. The tanks of the 1st Regiment were crushed and kept backing away. Most of them hid behind the hillside of the defense line and did not dare to take their heads. Several 96A vehicles that evaded slightly were directly hit by the Blue Army's Open Hook 59. The turret exited the exercise with red smoke. It's okay if we hit them with 2 shots, they let us scrap with 1 shot. How to fight this battle? The Blue Army of Dog Day, the Director Group of Dog Day. In the communication channel of the Red Army, people who cursed the Director Group, UU reading www.uugonshu.com cursed the Blues one after another. Lin Tianyong asked the communications staff nearby, "Can we contact our artillery units now?" The staff officer with the rank of lieutenant shook his head and said, "The interference is very serious, almost all channels have been interfered." "Where's the communication camp?" "It's all the fucking." Lin Tianyong almost jumped up and scolded his mother. "One team leader." Zheng Sheng's voice came from outside the command car. Seeing Zheng Sheng, Lin Tianyong's eyes brightened, and then he sank again. "You came just right, did the 2nd Regiment come?" "I can't hold it anymore. The Blues currently seem to be attacking the 2C area and want to open the gap here." Zheng Sheng shouted and got into the command vehicle. "The 2nd Regiment has arrived and is entering the defensive position." "What is the situation with you now?" "The situation is terrible. The Blue Army tanks are all plugged in, and the data given to them by the director team is too strong. The 96A in my hand hits the 59th change just like tickles. The Blue Army tanks just need 1 shot and let us go down. Whoa! It's impossible to fight." As the head of the regiment, Lin Tianyong should have been calm, but at this moment he really couldn't calm down. "It seems that artillery firepower is needed," Zheng Sheng said. "But since the night before yesterday, our communications have been disrupted by the Blue Army. It has been up and down, and now we can't contact the artillery." Lin Tianyong pulled off his hat and fell to the side severely. "Commander Yat, there is an artillery company 10 kilometers away from the 2C area. I have already agreed with their company commander. If communication is disturbed and cannot be contacted, use a signal flare. You immediately send someone to a high place to fight in the sky. 2 red shots." I went to the communications battalion of the 2nd Regiment. They opened a new channel. The contact with the artillery company has not been interrupted. It is estimated that they can be contacted. After a few minutes, about 2 kilometers behind the 3 artillery company, a giant bird-like S-70 Black Hawk helicopter appeared in the white fog, hovering next to the small hill, and 2 black nylon cables were thrown from the cabin. More than a dozen special forces with camouflage paint on their faces and wearing blue special warfare camouflage slid down the rope to the ground like dumplings. The highest-end individual equipment in the Huaxia Army sequence appeared on these people. The 9.5 TYPE automatic rifle equipped with tactical rails was equipped with a grenade launcher and a white light scope. The muzzle was equipped with a silencer and a special combat back. Capsules, special operation boxes, individual radio stations, PF-89 Type 80mm individual anti-tank rockets, which are completely used for infiltration and sabotage behind enemy lines, including assassination operations. Some people carry powerful bows and crossbows. They are absolutely necessary medicine for home travel. 30 seconds, the entire special squad completed a rapid descent, and the S-70 lightly nodded its nose in the air, and quickly pulled up into the air and disappeared into the distance. Call the headquarters, I am the Blue Saber, I have arrived at the predetermined position. The headquarters reply came from the headset, Blue Saber, I'm the headquarters. Our armored offensive unit was blocked by enemy artillery fire in the 2C area. Remove obstacles. The specific coordinates of the gun position are required. Sent, please check. Understand. Let us take care of it. The young lieutenant who led the team took out a handheld GPS for quick calibration, and quickly found the position of the gun battery position on the map, then raised his right hand and made a follow me tactical sign language. More than a dozen special forces of the Blue Army disappeared into the vast grassland in a column, separated by 3 meters. The crater where the cooking class is located. Yin Xian Kong sat down on the ground, looked at Qin Fei and said with a sigh of relief, it seems that your worry is a bit redundant. Qin Fei did not say a word, sitting aside and checking the 95 automatic rifle in his hand. Oh, let me just say it. Where are there so many special teams? I think they are just showing off. The Anhui soldier nicknamed Big Mouth couldn't help but sneer, I dare to tell the company commander that there will be a sneak attack by a special team. Everyone is crazy. That's right, don't bluff when you are okay, thinking that you are who you are. Someone agreed. Qin Fei still did not say a word. Sudden. While the soldiers in the cooking squad were taunting Qin Fei, a few smoking grenades flew from behind outside the cordon of the artillery company, and they landed on a haystack not far from the guards and exploded with several bombardments. The soldier who was in charge of the company's guard was taken aback. Fortunately, a few smoking grenades fell in the trench where he was hiding, otherwise he would be sentenced to death. The Blues are coming! The Blues are coming! Someone in the artillery screamed in panic. Where? I can't see them. Left. Right. I see it is the right. Da-da-da, someone pulled the trigger while panicking and swept the gun around. Stupid. His mother is purer than a pig. Qin Fei, who was watching all this secretly, almost scolded his mother. It is obvious that the Blue Army Special Forces have discovered that there is a cordon around, but they have not determined the strength and location of the artillery company responsible for the security. After a round of gunfire, the surroundings seemed to be quiet. A non-commissioned officer of the cannon company probed the ambush from the trench to see what was going on outside. The smoking device on the helmet immediately emitted thick red smoke, and he was hit. Sniper! Qin Fei retreated into the pit alertly. This Blue Army Special Warfare Squad apparently deployed a sniper at a certain point. A round of aimless shooting just exposed the position of the guards of the artillery company, and now it is the turn of the Special Forces unit to graze the rabbits. Qin Fei's worries soon became a reality. Several grenades flew up again, this time full of precision, and all landed in the trench where the artillery was hiding. The artillery hiding in the trench suddenly screamed and went into disorder. After a series of low and slight explosions, a large swath of red smoke emerged from the trench. In just over 10 seconds, 8 soldiers of the 3rd Artillery Company who were in charge of guarding were declared dead. Keep your breath! Keep your breath! Don't expose yourself! The instructor looked at the chaotic team and waved his hands desperately to keep his people steady, throw grenades at them. The awakened artillery recovered a bit. A dozen grenades were thrown out of the trench and landed at the place where the Blue Special Forces were just now. After the explosion, there was not a wisp of blue smoke floating. The Blue Army Special Forces, who are better than monkeys, predicted this situation. The strategy of attacking the grass and scaring the snakes has worked. The squad quickly unfolded silently, and with the support of the snipers, they outflanked the two sides and began a double attack. They are here from here. We have it here too. There is also behind his mother. The artillery was in a mess again. Ping pong 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 pong, guns rang like beans, and red smoke continued to rise. One by one, disappointed artillerymen climbed out of with their guns and sat on the ground, taking off their smoking helmets and tossing them aside. Qin Fei, what shall we do? Yin Xiankong's face turned pale. I'm outflanking those from the side. As the guards declared their deaths one by one, the deputy squad leader Ho Daong became anxious. Wait, it was too late for Qin Fei to stop Ho Daong. Ho Daong jumped up and out of the crater, leaping towards the rear of the Blue Special Forces unit. Just over 10 meters away, red smoke appeared on Ho Daong's helmet for no reason. Damn it! Standing in the same place at a loss, Ho Daong looked dazed. He didn't know where the bullet that hit him came from, and was killed in a muddled manner. Fuck! What's the matter? Big Mouth, who wanted to outflank Ho Daong, quickly rolled back into the crater, glanced at everyone and asked, "Have you heard the gunshot? Did you see where the bullet came from?" Except Qin Fei, everyone shook their heads. That's a professional sniper. Do you think the people in the special brigade are all fools? This kind of infiltration team behind enemy lines must be followed by snipers. Qin Fei said coldly, there is no gunshot because of the silencer. So no one hears the gunshot, which can hide his position more effectively. Muffler? Goodbye. Such a high-end thing. Big Mouth stuck out his tongue. If you continue to fight like this, the person in charge of the vigilance will have to be reimbursed. Red smoke was everywhere in the distance, and more artillerymen were killed. Yin Xiankong was anxious to scratch the wall. Qin Fei suddenly asked, "Squad leader, how is your marksmanship?" This. Yin Xiankong hesitated. If you want to talk about practice, I can also make do with a good one. Shouldn't you let me fight a sniper? Qin Fei suddenly realized that it was unnecessary to ask this question. Artillery is not an infantry. The profession is completely different. Automatic rifle shooting only needs to train the most basic practice and reach the pass. Infantry soldiers must learn at least 3 exercises, including night shooting and looming targets, moving target shooting, etc. Not to mention the special forces. Not only do they have to play for 1 to 5 shooting exercises, but they also need to learn indoor CQB and so on. Such special shooting. These two completely different concepts are put together to fight, and the outcome can be guessed with closed eyes. Then are you running fast? Qin Fei asked again. Run? Are you talking about running? Yin Xiankong was excited. It's not that I do it. Before I became the cooking squad leader, my physical training was not weak at all in the company. When I was in the recruit company, I ran in the top 3. Just run fast. Qin Fei slapped Yin Xiankong on the shoulder, pointed to the front right and said, I observed it before. There is a hillside overgrown with weeds 600 meters away. There is an excellent sniper position, and the blue sniper must be hiding there. Yin Xiankong said, Are you sure? Qin Fei said, I guessed it. Fuck. Yin Xiankong almost petrified. Thought for a while, gritted his teeth and said, Okay, take a gamble. I bet you win. Qin Fei nodded, and comforted, as long as you keep changing positions while running, the chance of being hit will be greatly reduced. I don't think he will hit you so easily, after all, the distance is very long. Yin Xiankong listened a little relieved, and asked, You mean, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com can't hit me? Qin Fei immediately extinguished his illusion. No, an excellent sniper will predict your running route and measure ahead. He may not hit you with the first shot, but then he will correct the trajectory and predict your walk. Bit. With luck, I guess I can avoid 3 shots at most. Then how do I run? Yin Xiankong stretched out and made a running gesture. It's... Qin Fei suddenly realized that he really couldn't explain it. Yin Xian Kong is not smart at all. It's like chasing a mad dog behind you to kill you. Qin Fei finally thought of a more popular and apt analogy. Yin Xian Kong nodded fiercely, sure. I understand. When I was a kid, I was chased by the dog of Widow Li's house at the entrance of the village. If you say that, I can't understand it too much. However, I'm not sure to find him before the sniper kills you. Qin Fei didn't want to deceive the honest Yin Xian Kong, and said truthfully, Squad leader, you may hang up honorably and then exit the exercise. Don't talk about the exercises, even if it's really on the battlefield. Who is my squad leader? Yin Xian Kong patted Qin Fei's shoulder again, and said without hesitation, as long as you can kill that guy, you let me do anything. Remember, don't let me die in vain. Qin Fei felt warmth in his heart, handing over his life to you, this is trust. Squad leader, don't worry, I will kill him. I won't let you die. 1, 2, 3, crush. What Yin Xian Kong yelled and jumped out of the crater and began to run wildly on the grassland, always cursing uncleanly. Fuck/you/mother's sniper. Come and kill Lao Zi. I'll kill you. Come on. Come on. On the hillside, in the grass. The muzzle of a Type 88 sniper rifle with a silencer moved slightly, and the sniper lurking in the grass like a snake saw the madman-like soldier. This crazy guy really caught his attention. After he killed a soldier who jumped out of the pit recklessly, there has been no movement for a while. The sniper thought that the Boy Scouts must be scared to pee. They hid in the pit and didn't dare to show up. He didn't expect another desperate one. I have the courage, but I just don't have a brain. He mocked the artillery from the bottom of his heart. Flutter 88 sniper's muzzle ejected a slight flame, and the silencer made the noise sound like a hammer hitting the wooden table lightly. Yin Xian Kong still jumped alive and ran and cursed in the distance, but missed the shot. Damn it! The sniper cursed secretly in his heart. He found that he underestimated this desperate guy. The running route of this guy was completely irregular, and he was not as easy to deal with as he imagined. After adjusting the muzzle, the front sight in the scope locked for a while, and then disengaged. It is not an easy task to hit a target that deliberately runs irregularly at a distance of 600 meters. What's more, this position is so coquettish, there are no rules at all, it is difficult to predict the route. The blue sniper suddenly moved in his heart and seemed to understand something. This guy is bait. Where there is a bait, there is a counter-sniper. He instantly understood Yin Xian Kong's intentions, and gently picked up the observation mirror next to him to carefully examine the scenery near the crater. Everything is quiet as usual, nothing unusual. He quickly became relieved that the artillery company was not an infantry company. These Boy Scouts had never touched a sniper rifle. They only had a poor Type 95 automatic rifle in their hands. They didn't even have a basic white light sight. Use the built-in mechanical sight to hit a target 600 meters away? Besides, it's still a bunch of artillery. Make an international joke. The sniper felt that he was worrying too much, and smiled self-deprecatingly. He decided to ignore these artillery soldiers who could only practice for a while. Although, this has violated the sniper's battlefield rule of not attacking difficult and low-value targets. But he was irritated by this soldier, and this guy didn't take himself seriously. Do you think that running like this really stumped yourself? The arrogance of being a Special Forces sniper was thoroughly stirred up. Adjusted the scope, and the triangular sight once again caught Yin Xian Kong. The Blue Army sniper is full of information about his shooting and concealment. As a sniper, he perfectly snipers and kills the target when the enemy knows he exists and then retreats all over his body, looking at the opponent's expression of hatred and helplessness towards him. That is the greatest reward. Flutter the second shot was shot. A light flame came out from the muzzle, and the laser simulator shot a beam of laser. There is still no smoke on the head of the artillery running in the distance, and the second shot is empty. Fuck. He was a little anxious. Good luck for your kid. After aiming at the target, he took a deep breath and began to hold his breath, and the muzzle instantly stabilized. The of the 88 sniper rests on the shoulder, and the sniper can feel any part of the gun, and even feel the unheard of the retraction spring in the barrel of the gun when it slowly expands under the pull of the trigger. The sound of friction. At this time, he and the sniper rifle have been integrated. There are only 3 things. This shot is very grasping. Far away. Qin Fei was sticking to the edge of the crater like a gecko. Yin Xiankong has run nearly 50 meters away, he still didn't find the position of the sniper, he was certain that the opponent had fired at least 2 shots. The third shot, this is the key shot. If he can't kill the sniper, then Yin Xiankong's head will definitely smoke, and he will really become the pig teammate of the squad leader. Time is tight. Where are you? Where? Qin Fei muttered softly, carefully changed his sight to a better position, staring at the grass on the distant hillside. The hand holding the handle of the gun began to sweat, and his heart began to accelerate. Qin Fei felt his nerves stretched to the extreme. I only have 1 chance. Now the sniper's attention temporarily falls on Yin Xiankong. When he kills Yin Xiankong, his sight will immediately return to the crater, and he will no doubt have an immediate headshot. A gust of wind swept across the grass quietly, rolling up small hay bales and rolling around on the ground. Yin Xiankong was still running frantically, his physical strength began to drop and his speed slowed down. The difficulty of sniping is dropping exponentially. Suddenly, the sun rises from the horizon, and the morning light covers the earth. It's daybreak. The sniper lying in the grass suddenly felt a slight arc in the sight of the scope, and a shallow halo appeared in the lens range. Oops! He screamed secretly in his heart, realizing a fatal problem. Because of underestimating the enemy, he made a serious mistake. According to the plan, the Special Forces unit's surprise attack on the artillery company would be completed within 10 minutes. It was not difficult to attack an unsuspecting howitzer company, but the artillery company sent dozens of people to set a cordon on the periphery. This caused some delays in the raid plan. This accident caused a mistake when choosing a sniper point. Although the sniper position on the hillside is very good, it is facing the east and facing the sun. Before dawn, there was no problem with this choice, but now and then, no matter how good the position is at the wrong time, it is hard to escape a major mistake. He hesitated for a moment. Withdraw? Still continue to attack? In the end, the blue sniper chose the latter by luck. He kept telling himself that there were no snipers in those artillerymen, and they didn't even have a sniper rifle. They were just a group of artillerymen who had received shooting practice training, and they were not much better than the recruits who had just dropped into the infantry company. After adjusting the shooting twice, he was sure to hit the running Yin Xiankong with the 3rd bullet. What is needed now is just a chance to pull the trigger. Crosswind on the right side, wind speed 5, distance 580, humidity 80%. Shooting correction parameters habitually popped out of his mind. Unknowingly, the fingers had been pressed on the cold trigger, and the familiar feeling of damping came from the fingertips. An excellent sniper, as long as his fingertips touch the trigger, he will be inexplicably excited. At this time, Qin Fei, who was lying on the side of the bullet crater, was anxious. Unknowingly a layer of sweat appeared on his forehead, his eyes fixed on the distant hillside. The moment the sun hits the hillside, a slight reflection flashed across the hillside grass. His eyes lit up suddenly, his pupils contracted rapidly, and his heart was beating wildly. Is the reflection of the sniper scope? Too late to adjust his breathing, Qin Fei directly held his breath, letting the muzzle reach the most stable state. The mechanical sight of the 9.5 TYPE automatic rifle quickly caught the flashing light, and the sight, the notch, and the target were 3 points and 1 line. In the front sight gap of the mechanical sight, Qin Fei couldn't even see the opponent's figure clearly. This choice seemed to be an international joke. Shooting at a sniper 600 meters away with a mechanical sight, he is doing something impossible. Theoretically, when the shooting distance exceeds 400 meters, the 9.5 TYPE automatic rifle warhead that is affected by wind, temperature, etc. will have a strange trajectory, and the probability of hitting a hit is the same as winning the first prize in a lottery. Any veteran who heard about this shooting condition would think Qin Fei was crazy. The 9.5 TYPE automatic rifle in Qin Fei's hand stays at the 1 position. This is the parameter for shooting targets within the range of 0 to 200 meters. It is used to shoot snipers 600 meters away, which completely violates the 9.5 TYPE rifle shooting tutorial. But this is just a drill after all. The barrel is filled with empty bullets, and a laser simulation tool is installed near the muzzle position, which can emit laser beams at the same time as firing. The most important thing is that bullets are affected by wind, but lasers are not. In the grass, the blue sniper began to gently press the trigger. The moment he pulled the trigger, an ominous omen inexplicably surged in his heart. Intuition told him this time, oh, something is going to happen. Among the electric light flint, he decided to give up this sniper, and suddenly stopped his gun and wanted to roll to the side of the ditch. Following the ditch more than 1 meter deep, he could easily disappear on the other side of the hillside. Qin Fei's gun spit out flames. While the blue sniper turned over to escape, he heard the Kevlar helmet on his head make a whisper, and blue smoke immediately filled the surrounding area. I was actually dead. Hold. I don't know if I scold Qin Fei or scold myself. The sniper couldn't accept this fact, and there was a sniper in the artillery company on the opposite side. Standing up from the grass, he unwillingly took out the observation mirror. At a magnification of 12 times, a superior soldier appeared half of his body beside the crater in the distance, and he was holding a 95 in his hand. Automatic rifle. Automatic rifle. He couldn't believe his eyes. At this time, in the sight of the observation mirror, the superior soldier glanced in his direction and raised his middle finger. I/fuck/ your uncle. The sniper was so angry that he almost dropped the sight glass to the ground. The opponent didn't even have a white light sight, and only relied on the mechanical sight of the 9.5 TYPE automatic rifle to get rid of him. This is simply a shame. I can't tell anyone about this. The Special Brigade's face was lost to Java Island. On the other side, the battle between the Special Forces Unit and the 3rd Artillery Company entered the most tragic stage. In just 20 minutes, dozens of artillerymen in charge of guarding had all been lighted up. In front of those hard-working special forces, the artillerymen were cut down like leeks. The 3 rows withdrew from the artillery position and went up, and were quickly maimed. The 2nd row goes up again. The instructor also died, the deputy instructor was shot sacrifice, the 2nd platoon leader and the 3rd platoon Zhang died. In front of the ghostly blue special forces, the artillery who has only practiced shooting is undoubtedly cannon fodder. In the end, all the soldiers in the company were all fired. Only 1 row of 3 155 guns remained on the artillery position, which continued to be loaded and fired. Although they are rookies in infantry tactics, they are expert in artillery, without any delay or hesitation. They have been trained thousands of times in the loading and firing, and they are still running smoothly in the Blue Army's assault. 3 gun companies' desperate fueling tactics made the captain of the Blue Sabre team also feel a toothache. This group of artillery is absolutely desperate. Many people are approached by special forces and threw their grenades directly under their feet, then rushed on and held each other to die together. Although the smoking grenade used in the exercise is not very powerful, it is still very dangerous. Both sides are crazy. A special forces member hit 2 artillerymen, but was thrown at him by more than a dozen grenades by artillerymen surging up like the tide behind him. Before he could run out of the explosion range, red smoke appeared on his head. The company commander. The 2nd and 3rd rows are all finished. Huang Zonghua ran back with a sullen face and reported the desperate news to Zhang Jianxing. Where is the company? Also finished. Company commander, Did we bring a row up to fight? How many of the blues died? 2. What? Zhang Jianxing said with a cold face, we have died so many people, they only died 2 of them. Cruel warfare is like this. Fighting is not only fate, but also tactical literacy, tactical level, and individual equipment. In all of these, artillery companies cannot be compared with special forces units. The two are not the same. Horizontal line. The equipment of the special forces is so good, and they are all masters of tactics. We are gunners, but they can't play guns. If it's not too close, let's use 155 cannons to coax them into trouble. Huangzong Huaji stomping. Zhang Jianxing's eyes lit up, and he grabbed Huangzong Hua's clothes. Old Huang, you are right. Let's bombard them. What? Huangzong Hua couldn't believe his ears, wondering if the company commander was frightened by the special forces unit of the Blue Army, right? Use 155 howitzers to bombard those blue special forces. Such a close distance. How bang! Make an international joke. The artillery line of defense was completely defeated, and the last few people who filled in were also finished. The special forces members are like wolves into the flock, screaming and killing. Blow up their gun positions. Lieutenant issued an order to the team members behind him, we have been delayed too much time, quickly kill them, and leave before their follow-up troops come up. The soldiers are very fast, efficiency and timeliness are the essence of special operations. The artillery position was in the open ground behind the 2 soil slopes. The distance between the hillsides was more than 30 meters, which was a large sunken pit. At this time, it became a cage. This surrounded the entire position. Now just waiting for an order, we can attack all sides together to kill the artillery remaining on the recessed ground. Kill Qin Fei, who quietly walked around behind the Blue Special Forces squadron, roared, and stretched out a gun from the trench to dump a magazine directly. The rest of the cooks responded and swept the Blue Special Forces squad that was caught off guard from different angles. Several members of the Blue Sabre were caught off guard and were shot and dead on the spot. The sneak attack without any warning at all made the team members a little dazed. There is still someone behind. The situation immediately became unfavorable for the Special Operations Unit. The front was the artillery position, and the rear was the remaining artillery that had drilled out. The soldiers of the Special Operations Unit who were in the state of encircling the artillery position were now being attacked on both sides. Rush into the artillery position. The leader of the lieutenant gave the order calmly, as long as he broke into the artillery position, he could quickly kill the artillery inside, and then rely on the hillside as a concealment to block other artillerymen behind. The special forces rushed across the top of the and rushed into the gun position. After passing the top of the slope, the artillery position appeared in front of him without any cover. 155 and howitzers lined up on the recessed ground. However, the heads of more than 20 Special Forces members suddenly exploded with a hum. One word floats in everyone's mind at the same time: fuck. The 155 guns in a row were arranged in a plum blossom formation, with the muzzle pressed to the lowest point, aiming directly at the soil in front of them. The huge muzzle of the black hole directly aimed at the encircled Special Forces. Lieutenant Captain turned pale. A typical close-range artillery direct sight. This kind of direct aiming method was creatively invented by the artillery of the Chinese Field Army during the Battle of Southern Xinjiang, but no one has ever tried to aim directly at such a close distance. The power of a 155 grenade is enough to flatten here, not to mention that 3 guns fired at the same time. This is suicide. The same way of playing. No one can survive. Lieutenant feels that he has met a real lunatic today. This Red Army can truly be called a field army, a real wild. Withdraw, he yelled hurriedly, they will die together. Smiling Zhang Jianxing stood beside the 155 PLUS howitzers, watching the panicked Blue Army Special Forces. His right hand that had been raised in the air for a long time suddenly fell. 3 Cannon Company. What is our company's slogan? The 3 guns are a piece of steel, so I would rather break it than bend it. The only remaining row of soldiers answered in unison. Blast 3 155 howitzers fired at the same time, and the entire hillside suddenly filled with smoke and dust. Even if the empty shells are used, the effect of shooting at close range is still so shocking. The Special Forces members felt a strong wave of air rushing, and many of them sat directly on the ground. Blue smoke and red smoke emerged from the smoking system on the top of everyone's helmet. The most unbelievable close-range shelling in the exercise resulted in all killed. You guys are really crazy. The lieutenant of the Special Forces, stunned in the same place, sat down on the ground and gave Zhang Jianxing a thumbs up convincingly. You are the most awesome artillery I have ever seen. Of course. Who are we? Zhang Jianxing looked back at the comrades behind him. We are a heroic 3 artillery company. His soldiers shook the mountain. The 3 artillery company has completed its mission. According to the rules, we withdraw from the battle. Zhang Jianxing waved his hand, tore off the exercise armband, and announced his withdrawal from the battle. We underestimated the enemy. The lieutenant looked around and smiled bitterly. The Special Forces unit was killed in action. Going back, the captain is going to kick my ass. Several Special Forces team members unwillingly dropped their helmets to the ground. Reading www.uuganshu.com. Now the Blue Saber squad has been completely killed, and the infiltration operation has completely failed. Qin Fei came out from behind the hillside with the cooking squad. The cooking squads were all fascinating, because they had killed the military district-level special forces who had replaced a detachment. Qin Fei paid a military salute to Zhang Jianxing. Report to the company commander, the cooking class will return to the team. You kid really guessed right. Zhang Jianxing slammed Qin Fei's chest with a heavy punch, and laughed triumphantly. Our 3 artillery batteries wiped out the Blue Special Forces squad, and there are still 6 of you left. Die. I never expected this result. The company commander, there are 7. A voice interrupted Zhang Jianxing's words. Everyone glanced at the place where the sound was coming from. The radio correspondent Xiaozhang appeared in front of everyone, blushing and scratching his head there. His voice was quieter than a mosquito. The company commander, I'm not dead. Zhang Jianxing was taken aback for a moment, and then smiled again. It's you, Xiaozhang. Is your kid alive? Xiaozhang's face turned even redder. I just got into the car and planned to use the car radio to contact the regiment, but suddenly there was a fight nearby. I was so frightened that I hid in the cab. I was stunned. Forget it. You are a correspondent, if you rush out to die. Zhang Jianxing waved his hand generously. It's also very good now. There are 7 people left in the artillery company, and all the special forces are killed. This is enough for the 3 of us. Cannon company blows for a lifetime. Yin Xiankong asked, Company commander, what about us? Now the highest rank here is him, the 2nd sergeant. How do I know what to do? Zhang Jianxing smiled bitterly. Now that I am a dead, you can't ask a dead what to do, right? Take off your camouflage uniforms, as well as weapons. Qin Fei pointed to the Blue Special Forces and said unceremoniously. What? The lieutenant's eyes rounded. Leave all the equipment. Qin Fei didn't seem to be joking at all. Then you can go to the containment team. Fuck you, a new recruit. Several Special Forces team members had already held back the evil fire and had nowhere to vent. When Qin Fei asked them to take off their clothes and leave their equipment, their eyes burst into flames. Don't let him / mom push your nose and face. You have to come to get the prize if you pick it up. Beat this recruit. As several people said, they surrounded Qin Fei, trying to tear up this superior soldier who didn't know what was good or bad. This is a shameful shame for the Special Forces. They attacked an artillery company's position and ended up all killed. Although the artillery is a tragic victory, but a tragic victory is also a victory. This kind of record is equivalent to being slapped in public by the special forces. Want to fight, right? Knock that kid. Beat him. The crowd is raging, and the scene suddenly becomes chaotic. If you lose the exercise, you will hit someone. Zhang Jianxing stood in front of Qin Fei, and cast his eyes on the lieutenant who led the team. Your special forces have this quality. The artillery company's soldiers surrounded it, and more than 100 artillery regiments surrounded 20 special forces. Some people even shovels were copied in their hands. The atmosphere is tense and it's on the verge of breaking out. I'm not insulting you, but you are already dead. Qin Fei coldly looked at the angry special fighters and said, on the battlefield, you are now corpses. You have seen corpses and clothes. The equipment still needs to be approved by the corps. Lieutenant was speechless. Other special forces were also completely choked. Will you bet and lose? The lieutenant took the lead in putting his weapon on the ground. Brothers of the Blue Army. We can lose a battle, not the honor of a soldier. His teeth clenched, and he said loudly, I'll listen to the command. Take off your clothes and unload your equipment. Pick them yourself. The Blue Army Special Forces members looked tragic and solemn, and some of their eyes were red. Everyone silently took off their helmets and camouflage uniforms, unloaded their individual equipment, and placed them neatly in front of them. They are uncomfortable and annoyed, but they must obey orders. Soldiers must be able to lose, and if they lose the battle, they cannot lose the honor of the soldiers. Are you Qin Fei? Qin Fei was selecting equipment, and suddenly heard someone calling himself behind him. Turned around and found the blue sniper who was killed by him standing behind him. His eyebrows twitched slightly, and he quickly recognized the person. You are number 15, Zhou Yulong. The sniper with green and black oil on his face grinned and nodded. He took off his penny hat and sighed, a few minutes ago, I was so angry that I wanted to shoot myself in the head. Now that I see you, I understand. The two shook hands. Zhou Yulong handed the sniper rifle in his hand to Qin Fei, you must want it. Qin Fei took the Type 88 sniper rifle, pulled down the trigger skillfully, squinted to check the line of sight and scope, and then glanced at the position of the firing needle. This is a good gun, of course I want it. Use it well, be careful, and pay me back. Zhou Yulong handed over all the equipment on his body, I am not too wrong to lose in your hands. You are careless. If there is no problem with the selection of the sniper position, I may be the one hanging up now. Qin Fei respected the opponent in front of him. If it wasn't for Zhou Yulong to underestimate the enemy, perhaps he would never find his hiding place. Brothers, let's collect the stuff and go right away. Taking away Zhou Yulong's sniper rifle and equipment, Qin Fei picked a Type 95 automatic rifle of the Blue Army Special Forces, which was equipped with a tactical rail and a grenade launcher. Equipped with a night vision scope and a white light scope at the same time, it is much better than my own. Qin Fei, what do you do next? Yin Xian Kong asked. Prepare the Blue Army's clothes and bring the field rations. Let's go to the 2C area to find a regiment. No one questioned Qin Fei anymore. Everyone packed up their equipment and followed Qin Fei silently, and began to move towards the 2C area. When Qin Fei walked away, the lieutenant came to Zhou Yulong, raised his chin towards Qin Fei's back and asked, what's the background of that kid? The soldiers of the D Group Army Reconnaissance Battalion, I heard that they were the first in the reconnaissance contest in their group army last year. At the beginning of this year, he was the only military-level special class shooter to participate in the sniper training camp. The same team. Zhou Yulong smiled bitterly and said, I didn't expect to meet him here. Our captain, he was the deputy captain of the training team at the time, and we also fell in love with this kid, and wanted to recruit him to our military command team. It is said that after the training session, the He team looked for the military commander. Someone made a transfer order, but I didn't know the reason, but the group army didn't agree. Lieutenant frowned and said, isn't this an artillery company? How come there are soldiers from a reconnaissance battalion? Zhou Yulong felt that what the lieutenant said was really the same thing, but he didn't want to understand it, so he could only show his hands and show that he didn't know. Somewhere in the synthetic training base, the command center of the Ljian 2005 Exercise Director Group. The sand table in the center of the big tent is filled with small red, green and green flags. The countless large-screen LCD screens display the real-time battlefield and various force comparison data. Some are the control interfaces of the digital firepower simulation system. 10 technicians in camouflage uniforms sat in front of the keyboard and stared at the screen intently. A screen on the right was surrounded by several young staff members watching the excitement, pointing and talking about something. A team of camouflage off-road vehicles rolled up the yellow dust and creaked and stopped at the door. The car door opened, and the exercise commander and deputy commander of the military area Su waved his hand impatiently to the staff officer who was approaching to open the door for him, and jumped out of the car vigorously. On the other side of the off-road vehicle came a lanky middle-aged major general, with glasses on the bridge of his nose, and gentle-looking like an intellectual. "Born, you came all the way, not just to watch our Red and Blue Army confrontation exercises, as simple as that." When the major general like an intellectual came to him, the grey-haired deputy commander Su asked. Major General Wei Tiansheng smiled, "I came in a hurry this time. I was patronizing the car and recounting the past without mentioning the purpose of the trip." The old chief was right. "I came here for another mission this time." Deputy Commander Su stopped and looked at Wei Tiansheng with a smile. "If I guessed right, you are planning to come to me to dig the wall, right?" "Old chief, this is my job." A trace of embarrassment flashed across Wei Tiansheng's face. "Okay, don't be so guilty. You bastard." Deputy Commander Su waved his hand and smiled to appease Wei Tiansheng. "I know your work is top secret, and I don't plan to intervene. It's just that you want to take it away. They are all the most elite talents in each unit, and no one will not feel bad. Old chief, good steel needs to be used on the blade." Wei Tiansheng grinned slyly, and said with a smile, "Isn't this what you taught me?" "Yes. I taught you that you were still a reconnaissance staff on the battlefield in southern Xinjiang. I asked you to search for talents and set up a reconnaissance team." Deputy Commander Su stopped. "You reading www.uuganju.com?" People seem to be distracted, as if they have returned to the years of war. After a while, he suddenly stretched his face and said angrily, "But I didn't teach you to come back to dig the corner of your mother's house after your wings became hard." The two walked toward the exercise command center with a smile. The sentry saw a large group of people approaching the two generals and quickly stood at attention and paid a gun salute. The large and small staff officers in the tent of the command center saw Deputy Commander Su walking into the tent and quickly stood up and saluted. Deputy Commander Su nodded, returned a bow, waved his hand to let everyone continue to work. A female officer wearing the rank of captain behind Wei Tiansheng attracted the attention of all the male officers present. The exquisite facial features, the beautiful figure, the wheat-colored skin, the feminine femininity and the masculinity of the soldier are harmoniously integrated into this female officer, which is unforgettable. The eyes of the male officers were shining brightly. "Geng Yang, what are you going to say about the exercise now?" Deputy Commander Su pointed to a black and thin university road headed by the director's center. Colonel Geng Yang opened the battle log and read out loudly, "The red and blue sides had the first frontal contact this morning. Because the Red Army Brigade suffered various blows before, the attrition was very serious. The 1st Regiment in the 2C area could not hold the line of defense. It was blocked by airstrikes and could not enter the predetermined area as planned. Now it has withdrawn from the 1st Regiment to the D3 area and merged with the 3rd Regiment. The 22nd Brigade is shrinking the defense line and retreating 20 kilometers to re-establish a new defense belt." Deputy Commander Su frowned, nodded silently after listening, and said nothing. Geng Yang finished the report and said 2 steps forward in a low voice, "Chief, the Red Army has a lot of opinions." "Hey! Deputy Commander Su raised his head. Any comments?